Holy
Fucking ass.
shiitake mushroom.
Hey, don't go the wrong way.
Chris, stop!
Those are... Okay. Richard just got the ate out of him by a shark. Peeps.
Penis.
What's up? I hope you're all doing well. We got done. We got done with this. With the fucking... We got done with the game.
We finished a game.
Oh my god.
One game.
We finished a game.
A game.
We did a game, and it was good.
Technically twice, maybe.
Twice-ish. But there was differences between the two campaigns.
Definitely.
I'm still at a loss as to like the endings of everything.
That is a note that I actually have here.
Okay, so let's go through that real quick.
Okay, so one of my one of the things I want to discuss is the fact that it's entirely two different scenarios. You have Chris going through the mansion,
Yeah.
And Jill's locked up, and then you have Jill going through the mansion, and Chris is locked up, but Barry's running around.
Right.
And Chris's campaign does have the Barry character in Rebecca, who, when I played through it, we only saw twice.
We only saw her twice, and then she's just gone. So
She's just gone.
So we don't know what happened.
Like, either I missed something, or I don't know. And that's what I had a problem with mostly, was just like the confusion of the scenario being like, I'm not going to get into, discussing the lore of Resident Evil or whatever, but the series does go on, and it mostly just mentions what happened at the Spencer Mansion without really getting into details, so it's not that big of a loss as far as... excuse me, sorry, just had lunch. It's not that big of a loss when it comes to, the lore or whatever, or however you want to phrase it. It's just, I do appreciate that it adds the different endings and the different storylines add a certain amount of replayability.
Yeah, for sure.
At least on the surface, like, you're mostly doing the same things, but you might do them in different order, and that gives you different endings. Or you could remember to go back to Rebecca when she's probably still trying to mix that V-jolt when the mansion blows up, whatever.
Yeah.
I think that was the last time that Chris saw Rebecca in my playthrough.
I think so.
But you got the good ending. I'm assuming it's the good ending. You defeated Tyrant the second time.
Right.
You rescued Chris. You rescued Barry, and the mansion blew up, killing everybody, and therefore cleansing the area of the T-virus.
But see, that's what I was like. I was so thrown by was the fact that during your campaign, it's like you have that interaction with Wesker, right?
Yeah.
Wesker then releases Tyrant.
Yes.
You shot Tyrant maybe 6 times with the Magnum,
And he's just gone.
and he's down.
Yeah.
And then never gets back up. Like, you got to the helipad and just you were just able to leave.
Yeah. Didn't have to fight him a second time.
No.
I think Tyrant might have been the last enemy I actually had to kill, because I
think so.
The entire area had been cleared out, whether I burned the zombies or I blew their head off with the Magnum or whatever.
Yeah.
I fought Tyrant, and that was, for all intents and purposes, the end of the game on my playthrough.
Yes.
But it left, after watching which that would have been a satisfying ending had I not known about the other endings. I don't know how to unlock them because that was my first time playing through Chris's campaign and everything like that. It's just, after watching your playthrough, it left me with like narrative blue balls. Like, I was just like, it felt very
like
unfinished.
What would have happened if this scenario, or what would have happened if that scenario? Yeah, definitely. Overall, though, I thought this was so much fun. Like, Resident Evil,
it was a lot of fun.
Was great. It was, at times, man, it was a pain in the ass.
I agree. Especially on that leads into my second point was at the beginning, like, you got to choose, very easy, normal, very hard, real survivor, whatever the difficulties were.
Yes.
I had to answer a question about how I'd like to travel up a mountain, and because that was unclear, like, I wanted it to be difficult but still enjoyable.
Yeah.
I felt like my campaign was very easy. I had stacks of ammo and stacks of health potions, and I felt like there were times where you're like, you have a bullet left, and if you don't find some shotgun shells, you're just screwed.
I'll give you that. And what was interesting is that, there were those moments where I was like, oh shit, like, I really need to conserve this ammo. But it seemed like just around the corner,
it was sublimely paced for that first time experience.
Yes, I think so too.
And the fact that I didn't have that experience, that soured the game a little bit for me. Just in, I still love this game, and I will definitely be playing it again. It's just it soured that first time experience for me just a little bit, because I apparently chose easy instead of normal when I was answering that mountain question, and I feel like on my playthrough, at least, that tension that you had throughout your entire playthrough wasn't there. I was just like, I can blow up anything. Let's just destroy the world.
It was funny. The one thing that pops out in my brain right now is the fact that I'm playing through and I'm doing my thing, and I'm waiting just for that right moment as a zombie approaches to, like, aim up and blow his fucking head off.
Yeah.
Hopefully blow his head off, right?
Yeah.
And the cocksucker starts puking on me.
That was funny. That was funny.
But I was like, what the hell is this?
I don't think I saw that at all in my playthrough.
I don't remember that.
It was really funny to watch.
Yeah.
Because if I remember right, you were on a staircase or something like that.
Yes.
And he's just kind of looking down at you going, and then just...
And I'm like, what? Okay, this is a thing now? Like, this is a fucking thing? Like, we're just going to do this. I'm like, okay.
I want to say that I do remember them in the original Resident Evil or the original RE2.
Yeah.
Zombies did puke.
I remember that. I think so too. But I don't remember that, like, at all. I don't remember that. I played Resident Evil 2 often.
As did I. Yeah. I think you mentioned it on our preview.
Yes.
You watched me basically do a speed run of it 20 some odd years ago,
which is insane to even say, by the way. Now I'm really fucked up in the brain. But anyway.
That was 24 years ago.
And it was Halloween night.
It was.
Halloween night.
It was.
Just a couple of fucking nerds sitting in my dorm room.
Yeah.
And just, I was enthralled by it. Because it was super cool.
Yeah, and like I wasn't trying to do any speed running. It's just I had played it so much that I knew exactly where to go. I knew exactly what ammo to pick up. I knew exactly what.
And it was impressive, though. Well, it was like watching a speed run.
Yeah, but I mean that might be true. But at the same time, like, now I have access, being the adult who never really grew up, but I have access to adult money.
Yeah.
I have all the games in the world. At that time,
I have access to adult money now.
We were working at, like, Target, both part-time, going through college. Yeah. And I could buy maybe a game every month.
Right.
Because all the rest of my money always went to girls.
Fuck Target, by the way.
Target's fine.
Fuck Target.
We wouldn't have our friendship if it wasn't for Target.
True. But yeah.
But yeah, like all of my money was going towards cigarettes and girls.
Yeah.
So I bought maybe a game a month, and I replayed those games dozens and dozens and dozens
Absolutely.
of times, unless it was like a 50-hour RPG or something like that.
Which those are oh my god, those are fun too, though.
I do love them.
Yeah.
But as far as like that tension, I didn't get, really soured my experience on it to bring this conversation back. That also brings me to the mechanics, the optional mechanics.
Yeah.
Because you could either play through the game with tank controls, or you could use the analog stick.
Yeah.
And just because I'm a lazy piece of shit, I chose to mostly play with the analog stick. I think there were a few times I used the tank controls.
I tried once to use the tank controls, and that was in the puzzle where the walls start to close in, and you have to move the statue in order to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was that's where you also, I do remember you used it on the puzzle that you couldn't run. That's right.
Because the analog stick, it's like a very fine. Here's walking. Like barely a millimeter later, you're running and you could explode. We should have tested.
I know.
For science.
I was just gonna say too. I was like, I really wanted to like create a save file.
Yeah.
And then just see what happens. Like just see
what happens.
Exactly.
Kind of like what I did with with that first puzzle where the armor crushes you.
Yes.
I was just like, look, this is I'm just doing this to show you that what happens.
And we're going to show you. And you did.
Maybe awesome. We should have done that a little bit more.
Probably should have. We probably should have.
But traditional tank controls, whether you're playing through Resident Evil or the original Silent Hill, or I'm sure there's more that I'm just not thinking of.
Sure.
I want to say Fatal Frame uses traditional tank controls.
Yeah.
To me, that the weird obscurity that you have to push up to always put the character forward no matter which direction they're looking,
right,
adds a little, what's the word, obfuscation to get into that world, and it really actually makes you feel like a little bit more present in their feet, but at the same time, like, not quite sure if you're pushing the right buttons to save your life. Right?
It's difficult.
Yeah.
Like, your brain is working in an entirely different way, and it's fucked. Whereas, though, and I will say, like, in contrast, then, like, you're running through the mansion using an analog controller, and those screen changes...
because everything is a fixed camera angle.
Yes.
It can throw you
easily. Throw you for sure. And so that was the other thing. So I mean, it's kind of a give and take, really.
Yeah,
honestly. And it's 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other, I suppose.
Yeah,
really,
very much so.
But yeah, that was interesting.
The only other topic that I really wanted to mention, and this might be the basis of an entire conversation here, which is and that is the aesthetics of horror versus being a real horror game. I think that Resident Evil HD remake that we played does a really good job of capturing the aesthetics of a real horror game or a real horror.
But the shadows and the sounds alone.
The shadows and the sounds alone.
Amazing.
The weird controls.
Yeah.
The puzzles being a little creepy. Lisa Trevor, which we have to mention, is possibly the creepiest thing that I've seen in a long time in a video game. Yeah, thanks for that. Like, she's wearing a skin mask or something, and she's got those like manacles or whatever that just look like they could and you can't kill her.
No. Bitch won't die.
It's incredibly heartbreaking and sad, but at the same time, like, she's very scary. Other than her, though, this game did not do a very good job getting under my skin. I didn't sit there and think about Spencer Mansion when I wasn't playing the game.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but like that's something that I really like about horror. Like if I were to go home and read The Exorcist, that is a book that has always gotten under my skin and has always affected me differently based on my mood.
Sure.
There is one viewpoint of The Exorcist where if you look at it through a positive light, you could sit there, oh, this is evidence of God's love at the end when, Reagan is saved. Or you could sit there and go, you can be absolutely possessed by a demon. Like it depends on how you look at it, and depending on your state of mind at the time, it can affect you differently.
Sure.
Resident Evil doesn't do that.
Yeah, no.
There's nothing really to think about. It's very on your like upfront about what it is.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think that there were a few creepy moments, mostly to do with spiders and Lisa Trevor.
Oh god. The giant ass spiders and Lisa Trevor, hands down, are the scariest parts of this game.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think it's just interesting. I guess the I don't know, just the way survival horror. I mean, you're looking at survival horror basically in its infancy still. You know what I mean? Like, we're kind of going through that.
Very much so. And it hasn't devolved into this is just an action game with a horror aesthetic. It's testing the waters of what it can do.
Yes.
It is Resident Evil, though, in comparison to other horror games, which hopefully we'll get to.
Oh, yeah.
Feels very much to me like John Carpenter horror.
Okay. Yeah.
It does its job effectively.
It's psychological.
It is a mildly psychological, but it's not going to keep you up at night.
No, you're not going to lose sleep.
It's not. To me, the difference between, say, Resident Evil and Silent Hill 2 would be Resident Evil is Halloween. It's scary to think about, but you realize at the end of the day that it's And then Silent Hill, to me, is 7.
Yeah.
Where that shit gets under your skin.
It does.
It forces you to think about things.
It does.
Or, Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, my God.
Those are phenomenal movies.
Yeah.
All 3 of those are phenomenal movies, but they definitely have the things that they're aiming for.
Yeah.
And Halloween and Resident Evil are not, IPs that really aim to get under the skin.
Yeah.
They aim to kind of thrill you.
Sure.
And maybe get your heart racing every once in a while, especially when you hear a hunter scream or
that messed me up a little bit.
The goddamn Crimson Heads.
Oh my God.
So
the Crimson Heads.
The Crimson Heads were the one point of tension.
Yes.
That I remember when we played through on my campaign or your campaign. The Crimson Heads were, I have to go through this hallway.
That one hallway.
Please, for the love of God, don't let them be Crimson Heads yet. I need to get this item. I do not want them to be Crimson Heads yet. Please, please, please.
That was it, man.
And sometimes we'd be like, oh, they're not Crimson Heads yet. Yes.
Right.
I can get my item. And then sometimes it was like, doop-de-doo, I'm walking. Oh, shit. What the shit is that?
And that's just it. And it's like out of nowhere, you hear them coming.
Yeah. And they are just a force of nature that is incredibly...
So good, though.
Territorial.
Yeah.
And they will rip your junk off, man. Like... And they don't care.
They do not care.
So I will say that the Crimson Heads do a really good job of building tension, but the game itself is more fun than thrilling to me.
That's fair. It's fair.
It's fun to figure things out. It's fun to enjoy the story as a stupid popcorn movie and not really have to think about it too much.
Yeah, definitely.
There's space in the world for that kind of horror. For sure.
Definitely. But like you said, too, like kind of going back to just the Resident Evil franchise itself, and watching, I mean, obviously knowing what we know now, right? So it's like we've played through Resident Evil 1,
yep,
the HD remake, and 2, I mean, Resident Evil 2 is fairly similar. Same thing with, like, Nemesis, right?
Yeah.
Once you get to 4, it became an entirely different animal.
Completely different animal.
It's no longer survival horror as just run and gun.
Yeah.
Like, just... That's it.
And to me, honestly, the concepts that are explored, not really explained. Well, I mean, it is explained, but the concepts that are explored in Resident Evil 4, to me, are more terrifying than a virus.
Yes.
I was actually talking to my wife about this the other day. I can't remember exactly what the context of the conversation was. Oh, we were watching The Last of Us on HBO.
Oh, yeah.
And we started talking about it versus like The Walking Dead or whatever. And to me, The Walking Dead isn't as scary because you're dead.
Yeah.
And then you come, like, your body comes back to life.
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
But there's nothing there. Right.
Whereas in, like, The Last of Us and in Resident Evil 4, you have that, the Las Plagas that takes over your head. You're still alive.
Correct.
Like, there could still be some semblance of self in your head. And that, to me, is way more terrifying.
Because, I mean, you look at some of the villagers, right?
Yeah. Like, they're going through their day-to-day life.
They're still tending the cows, the chickens. They're doing chores. They're baling hay. They're doing all of that stuff. You're absolutely right. And, like, I mean, shit. You walk into that one cabin, that dude is cooking dinner.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. So, it's super weird. I loved Resident Evil 4.
I do too.
And
it's one of my most replayed games I've ever done.
Me too.
I can't believe I haven't played the remake yet, but I'll get there.
Got it right, sitting right over there.
I see that. I've looked at that every day, every time I've come over to play Resident Evil.
Borrow it.
I don't like taking people's shit.
I know where you live. No, I don't.
He hasn't been to my house yet. Fucking bastard.
We're changing this.
We are.
We're changing this. We're going to do something special for you guys. And that kind of leads us into the next stuff, right? So we are going to do something special. It's going to be very similar and yet completely different than what we just did. A new game.
Yes.
And now I don't know. And I've kept my word. I have not looked anything up. I have not even read a synopsis of any of this. All I do know is that the title of the game is PT.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
So I don't know. You said it's super fast, like it's quick.
It's 30 minutes.
He says it's 30 minutes. It's going to take me an hour and 30 minutes, but that's fine.
I don't think that's possible, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
You got me so fucking messed up on this.
Okay.
It's going to be fun. But we're going to film it at Dustin's house. We're going to do this all at Dustin's house because we...
Okay, so PT has been delisted from the PlayStation Store.
That's what it was.
It's no longer available on PlayStation Store, so we can't download it to your system.
Right.
But it's something that I have had since it came out.
On your PS...
On my PS4.
On
my PS4.
Got it.
And when I found out that it was going to be delisted, I was just like, all right, this is permanently on my hard drive.
Download. Absolutely.
So I still have my PS4.
Mm-hmm.
It still works, but for some reason it doesn't work with your recording equipment.
Right. So we tried to hook up Dustin's PlayStation to my little setup that I have over here, which I have a PlayStation 4 that's attached to all this, and it works fine.
That's how we played through Resident Evil.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't understand why it didn't work. But I mean, shit, I tried for hours, and it would not go.
I don't have an explanation for you.
I don't either. So, we're trying to figure out the best plan of action to do this. Record, obviously, what's going on screen, and then, obviously, record us as well. I think it'll be fun. But it's like shit. It could be like it's going to be basically like one bonus episode.
It's just a bonus episode.
Yeah.
Because the game is so incredibly short and it has a lot of surprises. It's one of the few things that I've ever played that have really gotten under my skin.
Oh fuck.
Because it's so short and because it's because of the nature of the game, I thank you very much for not going into spoilers.
No, I refuse to. Yeah.
Because it does tie into a few other things that eventually we're going to do, but I kind of want it all to be a surprise.
Cool.
But it's just so goddamn weird, but I can't wait to play it.
It'll be fun.
Well, watch you play it.
It'll be fun.
It's going to be one of the handful of times that I'm actually going to have a guide open for people that are familiar with the game will understand why. It's not always the clearest, but that adds so much to the horror of it. It makes you do things that you don't want to do.
Damn. So it's like defying logic too.
It is like, completely defying logic. And
like, why would I do that right now? Why would I do that?
That is something that we will discuss
when
we review that game.
Okay. Or
do our little chat like we're doing here for Resident Evil. So that's something that I am very excited about. Like, I told you before when we made our list, I put this on the list, and I was like, I forced my wife to sit next to me while I played. She was just like, "This isn't scary," and I'm just like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" I was terrified.
Your wife is a badass.
My wife is a badass, but
to be honest,
she could kick my ass any day of the week.
She's like, "This isn't scary at all."
Yeah, well, I mean, she's
like, from what you're telling me, this sounds like it's going to be terrifying.
It's
honestly,
you're probably going to start playing it and laugh your ass off.
Okay,
because it doesn't feel like a horror game. It is 100% a horror game, but it doesn't feel like a horror. It feels like what the fuck is this?
Oh shit!
And it just kind of starts there,
and then it just kind of starts morphing into something else.
Very much so.
I'm excited.
Okay,
I'm excited about this. But yeah, so guys, that's what you have to look forward to. And then, of course, right after we're done with PT, then we're going to jump into another game, which we will further introduce after all of that fun stuff. So don't go anywhere. Thank you for those of you that are watching and interacting and all of that fun jazz. We appreciate you. Tell your friends. And
really?
Tell your friends. Tell your moms. Tell your dads.
Yeah.
Especially tell your moms. But anyway, we'll talk to you guys later. We'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.